Thanksgiving always exhausted him before it even started. By the time he parked outside his parents' house, he was already rehearsing the same small performance he'd done for years. Smile at the door, hug his mother, ignore whatever comment his father made in the first 5 minutes. The house looked better than it should have. New siding, cleaner yard, the expensive outdoor lights his mother liked. He noticed those things automatically because he had paid for most of them, not openly. Never in a way that changed the family story about itself. His father still talked like head of the household. His mother still introduced him to relatives as the sensitive one. The family still behaved as though he were somehow unfinished compared to everyone else. Inside, the kitchen smelled warm and familiar. Butter, sage, wine. For a little while it almost worked on him. Then dinner started. His younger cousin talked about getting promoted. Everyone clapped. His father joked that at least somebody in the family understood real work. A few people laughed softly. He smiled because that was easier than making the table uncomfortable. Later, his sister mentioned he worked too much. He likes hiding behind work, his father said. Some people collect money because they don't know how to build a life. Another laugh. Not cruel enough to stop the room, just sharp enough to land. He kept eating. Across the table, his mother gave him the same look she always gave after comments like that. Not apology, more like quiet pressure to cooperate. Let it pass. Don't ruin dinner. Years ago, maybe he would have argued. Now he mostly felt tired. The strange thing was that nobody at the table seemed aware anymore of how much of their stability rested on him. The mortgage refinance 3 winters earlier. The insurance payments after his father's business collapsed. The rent for the small commercial space his parents still insisted on calling the family investment. At some point, help had stopped, feeling temporary to them. It had become invisible. Dessert arrived. More wine. His father leaned back in his chair, comfortable in the attention of the room. "You know," he said, pointing vaguely toward him, "when he was younger, we honestly thought he might never make it on his own." The table laughed harder this time. Even his sister. Something inside him didn't break. It just went still. Then his father's phone rang. He almost ignored it, but glanced at the screen and frowned. "Probably the landlord again," he muttered before answering. Everyone kept half-eating while he spoke. "Yeah, I saw the notice. No, that transfer should have gone through." A pause. His father's expression changed slightly. "No, I'll handle it tomorrow." Another pause. Then, "What do you mean the guarantor has to authorize it?" Silence spread slowly across the table. His father glanced toward him for the first time that night with something close to uncertainty. The landlord kept talking loudly enough through the phone that fragments escaped into the room. Primary account holder, only authorized payer, without his approval. His mother looked confused. His father ended the call too quickly. Nobody spoke for a few seconds. Then his father forced a laugh. Paperwork nonsense. But the room had shifted. Not dramatically, just enough. He set down his napkin. "I'm gonna head out," he said quietly. His mother blinked. "Before pie?" "Yeah." His father scoffed, relieved to recover familiar ground. "There he goes. Always dramatic." He almost answered. Instead, he grabbed his coat and left. The cold outside felt cleaner than the house. Back in his apartment, he sat in silence for nearly an hour before opening his laptop. No rage, no satisfaction, just a strange clarity. He canceled the automatic rent transfer first, then utilities connected to his accounts, then the insurance extension attached to the failed business his father still pretended was recovering. He left everything else untouched. Why morning, his phone was vibrating constantly. Missed calls from his mother, his sister, 2 from unknown numbers. Voicemails stacking up faster than he could listen. His father didn't leave messages at first, only calls. When he finally answered that evening, his mother was crying before he could speak. "You scared us." He stared out his apartment window. "I think you were comfortable," he said. "That's not fair." "Maybe." She went quiet. In the background he could hear cabinets opening and closing, his father moving around loudly on purpose. Then his mother asked the question that stayed with him longest. "Why didn't you tell us it hurt you?" He almost laughed at that. Because he had. Just never in ways dramatic enough for them to hear. The real collapse came 2 days later during a conference call with property management. His father apparently believed he could restore everything himself, but policies didn't care about pride. The representative spoke politely, almost mechanically. "Sir, future lease decisions will need approval from the financial guarantor on file." A pause. Then his father asked quietly, "And that's him?" The representative answered immediately. Yes, something changed permanently in that moment. Not power exactly, recognition. After that, the calls became calmer. His father stopped shouting. His mother stopped minimizing. Even his sister sounded careful now. Weeks later, he agreed to restore partial support with boundaries attached. Written amounts, clear dates. No shared access. Nobody thanked him dramatically. Nobody apologized perfectly either. At Christmas, the family gathered again. Dinner was quieter. His father avoided jokes about failure this time. And for the first time in years, when his mother asked if he wanted more wine, her voice sounded less like she was managing him and more like she finally understood he could leave.